The night my parents were kidnapped, my brother, who happened to be a police officer, chose to go bungee jumping with the fake heiress. I didn't stop him. Instead, I called the police and began preparing the ransom. In my previous life, my brother had forgone the outing to rescue our parents. As a result, the rope snapped during her jump, sending her plummeting into the abyss. Her body was never recovered. He never spoke a word about it afterward. On my birthday, he drugged me and dragged me to that very cliff. You orchestrated the kidnapping. You'd go this far for their attention. You are nothing but a monster. Lillian is dead. You don't deserve to live either. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back on the night my parents were kidnapped. This time, my brother didn't rush to their rescue. Instead, he ran to the fake heiress, but in the end, he regretted it so much that he nearly lost his mind. I jolted awake, drenched in sweat. My heart pounded violently against my ribs as if it was trying to break free from my chest. The residual fear of free falling hadn't faded. My eyes darted around, taking in the familiar arrangement of my room. I glanced at the clock. I had been reborn to the day my parents were kidnapped. In 5 minutes, the kidnappers would call, demanding the ransom be prepared within an hour, or they'd kill my parents. I was the Belle's long-lost daughter, missing for 18 years. It had been less than a year since I reunited with them. They were my entire world now, no matter what. I couldn't let the tragedy of my previous life repeat itself. I rushed downstairs and positioned myself by the phone. My policeman brother, Thomas Bell, followed close behind, dressed casually in a windbreaker and cargo pants. Wendy, what's with the theatrics? Mom and Dad aren't even here. Aren't they missing because you had them kidnapped? Thomas's lips curled into a mocking smile. In that instant, I knew. He had been reborn too. The look in his eyes said it all. He was telling me not to bother because it was useless. Because without his cooperation, this performance would end even faster in my past life. Thomas was convinced I had orchestrated the kidnapping to gain our parents' attention. I had no idea where he got such a ridiculous notion. This time, it seemed he decided to sidestep what he believed to be my trap. Wendy, he said, his tone laced with false kindness. Don't say I didn't warn you. Aiding and abetting a crime is still a crime. When you end up in jail, don't come crying to me. I opened my mouth to retort, but the shrill ring of the phone cut me off. Each ring was like a needle piercing my heart. Thomas didn't so much as flinch before walking out the door. He glanced back, disdain flickering across his face. I am going bungee jumping with Lillian. Mom and Dad will be fine anyway. Don't bother me unless it's urgent. That wasn't what he had said in my past life. Back then, Thomas had used his years of investigative experience to quickly locate the kidnappers' hideout. Within an hour, he rescued our parents unharmed. That day, my focus had been entirely on my parents. I hadn't noticed the suspicion and rage lurking in Thomas's eyes. It wasn't until he dragged me to the cliff that I understood. During the rescue, Lillian Bell had called him incessantly. When he didn't answer, she went bungee jumping alone, and it ended in tragedy. Now the phone rang like a death knell, making every nerve in my body burn with anxiety. I snatched up the receiver, and the kidnapper's voice came through sharp and clear. $2 million, hampered it within 2 hours, or your parents die. My eyes widened in shock. What? In my last life, they'd only asked for $1 million.